What's up, NFL fans? I often get asked when it comes to interior defensive linemen, who's in my top 10, my top 5? And I believe over the last couple years, the easy answer for most of the time was Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was a monster and a beast, and I think he was the first name that came to mind for a lot of people. But now that he's retired, I have to rework the list, and it comes down to it. I like to think back to what my defensive line coach, Rod Marinelli, who I consider one of the best to ever do it in the NFL, would be, what have you done to make a difference in the game today? A lot of people will emphasize sack numbers and getting to the quarterback, but there's so much more that goes into being a factor and a great defensive lineman other than getting sacks, although it is a great measurable and it's something that linemen will always be measured by. But the one thing that we know in the interior, these big boys will take on double teams, chip blocks, sometimes triple teams, depending on who the lineman is and how they do things. But when it comes down to this top 5 list, these are the guys that I love watching, and I think that they have exceptional factor grades, not just production numbers, when it comes down to their stats. Now, everyone couldn't make this list, and there's a phenomenal amount of talent in the league. But needless to say, I will give you a rundown of my top 5, other guys that I think that you should watch, and then I want y'all to be able to also tell me who I forgot and who some sleepers may be going into the 2024 season. First and foremost, Kansas City Chiefs lineman Chris Jones. He's a complete game changer. He was first team All-Pro the past 2 seasons. Last season, 10 and a half sacks, 29 QB hits. He can line up anywhere on the line that they need him. The size of a tackle, the grace, speed, and agility of a defensive end, and a complete game changer, like I said. Every team has to go in and game plan for Chris Jones because they know it's going to be a tough task every time that they line up against him. Second for me, and a guy that's starting to get a lot more love, is Quinnen Williams of the New York Jets. He plays like a bull in a china shop. A big body can just wreak havoc, but also under control. He really emerged 2 seasons ago with 12 sacks, and he was a first team All-Pro. Last season, sack numbers went down to 5, but he had 20 quarterback hits for an interior defensive lineman. Pretty much demanded a double team most of the time that he's in there. You have the game plan around him too. He plays with reckless abandon. Quinnen Williams is awesome to watch and one of my favorites. This third guy, to me, is probably one of the most impressive because he is undersized and small for being an interior lineman, but he plays big with a chip on his shoulders and is always around the ball. And this is Justin Madubuike of the Baltimore Ravens. Every time you turn on the film and watch the Ravens defense, this guy is around the ball. Second team All-Pro in 2023 with 13 sacks, 33 quarterback hits, a high motor, like I said, that doesn't stop. He's always going to be around the ball. He's always going to be in the screen, and he's always going to help make things happen for his team. He plays a lot bigger for his size. So number 3 for me, Justin Madubuike of the Baltimore Ravens. The fourth guy for me, the numbers are never going to impress you when it comes to sack numbers. But when you watch this guy play on the inside, and I swear to you, it seems like they use the whole line sometimes to plug him up. He's a true interior lineman because he is a nose guard. That's the New York Giants' Dexter Lawrence. Lawrence is a dual threat on that inside because when he allowed and he gets a crease, he can apply pressure, but everyone knows you're not going to run in that gap that he's lined up in. In 2023, 4.5 sacks, 21 QB pressures, but like I said, just a menace in the middle of that New York Giants defense, and it's almost impossible for opponents to run against him. Breaking this down into 5 really isn't fair, but coming down to it, the 5th person on my list is one that they may surprise people. I think he's definitely in a lot of people's top 10. But for me, I feel like every time I watched the Finns play last year, this dude was wreaking havoc. And starting to watch some of his offseason work this year, I'm really even more impressed. And that's Christian Wilkins of the Las Vegas Raiders. He was a consistent playmaker for the Miami Dolphins last year. Now, he did have some bonehead plays and get some penalties that drove me crazy. But nevertheless, his production was unreal. 9 sacks, 23 hits on the quarterback, and just imagine him in Las Vegas with Max Crosby on the outside. You put Crosby and Wilkins on the same side, who are you going to double team? You have to chip Crosby. Your tackle is not going to be able to sit inside with that guard to take away Wilkins. It should be pretty impressive. But I think Christian Wilkins, although some will say maybe a little too high for him, this is Big Game's list, and this is what I believe is a great list. Other notable interior linemen to watch out for this year, not being biased on a homer, but Vita Vea of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Vea is a monster in the middle of that defense at that nose guard spot. A guy that I liked a long time, even before he got to Indianapolis, is DeForest Buckner. Getting up there in age, but still very productive all the time. Buckner is one to watch. And then a guy that I believe is under the radar by most because he doesn't have high sack numbers, but is a monster stopping the run and just a complete game changer as well. And that's Derek Brown of the Carolina Panthers. If you haven't seen this guy play, go check out his film and watch him. But I guarantee you he's going to be one to watch this year as well. And then Javon Hargraves with the San Francisco 49ers. Sometimes gets overtalked because of Bosa on the outside there. But Hargraves is good at what he does. He makes plays, and he is very consistent. And then a guy to me that is a sleeper because this team hasn't been very good very long is Alim McNeil of the Detroit Lions. Very productive player, makes things happen, plays, again, like the word I like to use, motor, high intensity, gets around the ball, makes things happen. And I believe that he will have another good season this year as Detroit continues to get better. And he and Aiden Hutchinson together play very, very well. Anyway, this is former Buccaneers defensive tackle James Cannida, and these are my top interior defensive linemen for the 2024 NFL season. Like I said before, let me know what you think below. Who did I leave off? Who do you like? Rank your top 5 or even your top 10. Let me know what you would change on this list or who you would add. And for more great content like this, please check out BGSE Network on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and also X. Until next time, peace.